Ball gets away, gets away.
Well, no doubt about that. And I think there's also that competition factor that comes into play. And
round third, and the relay coming in will be late. So you would not be thinking 41 home run hitter. Star now. And he will beat the throw. So the Royals get their first out. And
so that's what the banter is like in the club, in the locker room, or in the dugout. Ooh, him.
McBroom airs Altuve back to third.
You know, derogatory about my comment, but I say, hey, just communication breakdown, and those guys both. Don't really notice it until after the play is over, but it's going to have an impact.
Correa throws out McBroom. Be Davinsky, who's another back end of the bullpen guy for the Astros. There is still rain in it all over again every time he came up to the plate.
That's funny.
Right, and it's funny you mentioned that. When I came into some games, my wife tells me you got to get something.
The crowd, the roar that a veteran closer gets from the home crowd when they come in.
And big audition games for some of these players.
Good looking swing.
Most of their career, so this will be a good kind of easing into this entire environment.
Springer stay.
Yeah, this is about as tough as it gets. You're facing a guy that's an MVP caliber player, bases loaded, nowhere to put him, and you got to come in and challenge him.
'60-game season. I don't think it's development time.
Mejia, so the Astros. Tim Hill went from the Royals.
Has good speed. You mentioned the games that he's played at. That elbow, that front elbow is the key.
Guys, the other thing I've noticed about
who was supposed to start today, so it wasn't just the blue chippers that. Singles to right. And no double play.
You have to have some success, establish that confidence, and then the success. To me, you have to have some success to get the confidence. So we'll see how.
A more natural light after a lot of rain this morning and early afternoon. And Garneau will be running. Foul past first base. And he gets around himself. So the Astros.
Mike Matheny, a former big league catcher himself, really likes is he can control his staff.
Look toward third, but. And deep enough to score Bobby Whitties.
Now he wants to keep it going here.
2 on and 2 out for Franchy Cordero, and that's so Franchy Cordero. Area, and it's going to be caught by Brandt. All the way back, and that is over the wall for an op against the next hitter, especially when it's someone like Jose Altuve. Goes up and in, and he hits it into left field.
For the process of growing up in the big leagues.
He's got to get himself out of it right here.
He has forward momentum, and the throw on one hop.
Even much more better.
2 down. All out of their system today.
That's how Royals fans prefer to look at it, I'm sure.
Over to Prado to end the inning.
He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, opening day starter, and to me, you're really going to be certain.
Good swing. Came up with the Rangers as a 22-year-old. Here's the A's, the Marlins. And Kowar is defeated here.
All the way until it gets to the plate, and it
quarter mark. Sometimes it's difficult to get the ball into a lefty, but he's because we saw his, I believe, his major league debut, and then.
But he got Eddie Volquez back, did he?
Oh, that's an unbelievable guess.
Turns and it's into the.
Yeah, you could tell he didn't hit it all, get it all.
I mean, he went up there. He didn't look like a guy playing in his first big league game at all. Calls for it and makes teams feel a little.
Know they're the best in the world, and sometimes maybe You have to be prepared to get back on the horse.
Hit a high pop-up, and I was waving, camped under it. I whiffed it, missed it. The ball bounced on that.
With a long throw, gets some help from Prado.
Higher body to generate the torque he needs.
Ooh, man, some life.
Throws out Correa. Good fastball, inspired. Sets his feet.
Nice.
And
you know, Dave Holt, especially this year with a shortened season and no exposure to any of the players or coaches, it's very interesting. All that passion he had, bottle that up, he's going to be so Prado.
Base hit series. There's a nice bunt.
Sprint race like this, you got to do little things to help your team win.
Fly rule is called as his first at bat. He had a nice play to end the top of the sixth.
You miss it.
They need to be told, hey, come on, pick up the tempo. So Paredes' fastball velocity was down compared to what he's doing in the minor leagues, and will turn, and that ball is off the 2 down.
Up to the opposite side of the plate against right-handed batters, which is essentially an equalizer.
Oh man,
Tanaloo, that was backup players.
And the fade, you have to get it away for the most part against right-handed batters on a changeup if you're a left-handed pitcher.
And Bobby Witt Jr. One of my favorites in realizing that Greg needed some levity comes from the big leagues. A player from the United States who is undrafted. And that ball stays in play. And that'll be a
perfect baseball weather in Cuba.
And Mayfield. And here's Jamie Ritchie. How's this, Hut? 2016, not even on the roster when the season began, and he was an all-star. And how about that roller coaster ride?
That's a rough 3 seasons.
It's been a tough day on the mound for the Royals today, with the Astros scoring 12 runs on 13 hits. They've hit 4 home runs. And Ritchie makes the turn and holds. 1 and that's line and caught. Guzman goes up out for Shipley. That was an inch away.
And a big hang with him.
Then 2 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 7th, and 2 more. Was a chance that Dusty Baker and the Astros weren't even going to come to Kansas City. I guess he was managing a family wine business the past couple of years.
Just put a little advertising just for the reasons you mentioned, and just experience. 2,000 wins, and that's a lot of wins as a manager.
Who the manager is going to be, but the Astros actually hired Dusty Baker first. Rays organization, so that's heavy in the analytics, which the Astros were as well. Witt, and the throw to first is in.
Very bright.
Guys, no fans in the stands, obviously, but in the booth I am working.
You were in that game. You were in a big league game.
When there were not enough innings for everybody to go around, and our manager was Pete. I know what happens.
He might make the team.
It was very intimidating.
Wow.
So
that's when you
strike zone. You better chuck it and duck because it was coming right back up the middle.
Wow, you guys
shaking like a leaf because he was one of my heroes as well. I can't.
Here's a base hit for. So he can add that hit to a couple of. Even the Dodgers, it was hard to see them unless you went to the game in person. And if you read the Sporting News or Sports Illustrated, I mean, they were like.
And they showed those games during the day back then. And then Perez, Concepcion,
George Foster.
Big feather in the cap of the player.
Loria hits it off the side wall. Home. So the Royals
on in between innings. Looked like it didn't bother him one bit. growing up, you know, we had ice maker back then, but they didn't have an automatic ice maker where you pushed a button and it came.
A little bit of Jim Leland in that too.
You guys are killing me. Oh,
makes the play.
And even
good start for Shipley. He gave up a couple of runs in the 8th inning. Down. We've been talking about
coverage at the plate, able to drive the baseball, has a better speed than Olerud did. But
Abraham Toro goes to left. So with one out, the Astros get back-to-back doubles. Is that still your worst, Mike? And Bobby Witt Jr. makes the play. Cardinals in 2016, but ended up being an all-star. And then the next year was sent back to the minors. Diaz drove in.
And then we said all the things about this young man. That's an amazing career that he's
was all said and done. He had a 3.77 ERA.
Very respectable. And he came back and he was better and better. Eat their mouth shut and just say, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Late in the game when the Royals needed some speed. From here, Hud, that looked like he hit a knuckleball. Looked like that ball changed direction about 2 or 3. No balls and 2 strikes. Off the end down. The runners had to hold because it hung up there for so long. So it